Alright, well hello mutants. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. I'm sorry about the mic always being on, by the way. I'm new to streaming, so I don't really know how to turn it off. But I'm slowly learning how to use this. So, let's get on to the lesson. Today, I was planning on teaching about periods and sentences, and also about jazz composition a little bit. But now we're going to go into composing a sonatina. But to do that, the beginners among you should probably learn more about periods and sentences first. So I'll start with that. Now right here, I have an example of a basic period. And let me just play it once for y'all. It's made from that motif that I've had in the past two lessons. Now it's quite a boring period. I mean, it only uses chords, and it's all very logical, it doesn't do anything surprising. But the basic design of a period is exactly what this follows. It has a phrase, and it ends in a half cadence. Right here, we start in F major, but we end with a C major chord. And then we have a second phrase. Now the second phrase of a period starts the exact same way as the first phrase of a period, but then you introduce new contrasting material. So we have this in the first phrase, but then we have this in the second phrase. And also, at the end of the second phrase, we end in a perfect, authentic cadence, from C major to F. And it's really not that hard to compose a period. It's very simple. Now, this one is incredibly simple with just block chords. You only have to do 1 to 5, and then again 1 to 5. You only have to repeat the motif and add a small amount of variation. As you can see, I've inverted the motif right here, and here I just introduced a small 8th note to quarter note motif, 8th note to half note motif, and then a dotted quarter note, just to build a little bit of tension, and then brought back to that 8th note to half note motif. So that's a musical period. Very simple, very easy to understand. A musical sentence is a little bit different. Now this is an example of a musical sentence, and it uses that very same motif. And now, I'm sorry for the horrible resolution on this photo. It's really the only photo I could find on this particular structure. But the idea of a sentence is different from a period in that you take one phrase, repeat the phrase, simplify the phrase, and then have a different idea leading to a cadence. So as you can see here, you have quarter notes and then a triplet quarter note. That's your basic phrase. Then you repeat that with some slight variation. In this particular example, the phrase is modulated to the dominant. Then the phrase is simplified, so instead of having multiple quarter notes and a triplet quarter note, there is simply two groups of triplet and quarter note. And then you have the cadence leading to C major. So that's what I've done here. I've taken my basic motif here, and I've varied it slightly, again, over dominant harmony, That's how it's usually done. You don't have to do it that way, but that's a very common way of doing it. So you just take your basic idea, repeat it, but with a variation. Then you simplify it. As you can see, I've simplified it here by simply extending this note with a dotted half note and extending this note with a half note. And then I extended this by making this a quarter note. And that's all I did to simplify it. Then I brought it to a simple cadence with F to G to C to F. So that's a 2-5-1 perfect authentic cadence. Let me play the whole sentence for you. I just realized I forgot to undo what I did there. Alright, here's the actual sentence. Alright, so that's pretty much all you need to know to compose a sonatina. Alright, this is the sonatina I composed. Again, it's based on that one little motive. See, I just took the periods and sentence for the first 16 bars of my sonatina. Now, a sonatina it's just a small sonata. I know it's a period. It's supposed to be a period. I mean, like this first 8 bars is a period, and the second 8 bars is a sentence. Alright, so a sonatina is basically just a small sonata, and a sonata is based on the sonata allegro form. And the sonata allegro form is a type of ternary form. I'm sorry, Poke Marky, I'm not understanding what you're saying. I have the phrase here, leading to a half cadence. I have the phrase again with some variation here, leading to a perfect authentic cadence. Oh, it's the lag? Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. Well, I'm just going to continue then. On that, the second 8 bars have the very same idea repeated again, then simplified, then leading to a perfect authentic cadence. I guess we're using different definitions of sentences. But anyway, the point is, a sonata allegro form is a type of form based on an ABA format. Now the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H system of labeling sections of music is a system developed in classical music, and it's widely used in jazz and popular music too. And apparently it is the correct definition of a sentence. I don't know. I just composed this in like 2 hours, the entire sonatina. So apologies if it sucks, because it does. Alright, so anyway, The ABCD, the alphabetical way of labeling sections of music, was started in classical music, and it just labels similar sections. Like, take this period for example. This could be an A, and if I have a piece of music that went A, B, I could have this period here with this motive, and then that would be my A section. But then a B section would have a completely different motive. It might have different harmony, it might be in a different key, and so that's what really distinguishes between different sections of music. Now, AB is called ternary form, and it's just one section and then another contrasting section. ABA is called ternary form, and it's one section, a contrasting section, and then first section repeated again. And sonata allegro form is a type of ternary form, but it has very specific differences. The first A section is called the exposition. As you can see right here, it's labeled. The introduction, you don't necessarily need that. And the exposition is made of different sections as well. It's made of 2 different sections. And these are called themes. And these can be phrases, periods, sentences, or whatever. And the first theme is in the tonic of the entire piece. And now, my sonatina is in F. So I composed a theme in F. And all I did was take that period and sentence and I called this section A. Well, theme 1 of my section A. And then theme 2 of your first section of the exposition modulates to a different key, to the 5. It could modulate to the 3, but it usually modulates to the 5. And if you're in a minor key, it will usually modulate to a different key than the 5. You could also modulate to the relative major or minor in the second theme. But what I did was I did the regular thing and I modulated to the dominant. And I did that with this little 4-bar piece right here. So I had the very same motives that I usually have, inverted and regular, and I also introduced this 16th note run, which I use as a motive frequently in the second theme in C major because it's modulated to the dominant now. So I use this half note and 8th note motive, and then I end with that 16th note run, and it's just a period and a sentence, just like theme 1, so that they have kind of a correlation so that you can tell they're all part of the same section, the exposition. Alright, here's the sentence now. So that's my entire exposition. It's just 36 bars long, I think? I'm not too good with math. But I think that's 36 bars long. Now, the B section is called the development, and you can pretty much do whatever you want in the development. It doesn't really matter, but you start out in the dominant. Then you can modulate to whatever keys you want. You can make it completely atonal if you want. I highly suggest not doing that, but I mean, you can do it if you want. There's no reason you can't. And then you'll usually end in the dominant too, so you can prepare for the return to section A, which is called the recapitulation. But there is a very important difference between the exposition and the recapitulation. It has both theme 1 and theme 2, but theme 2 is in the tonic, instead of being in whatever key you modulated it to. In my example, I modulated to the dominant, And so for the recapitulation, I'll have to transpose it back to the tonic so that the entire recapitulation can be in the tonic key. As you can see, I did that here. I just have the regular sentence and period for section 1, and I got rid of the transition because I'm not modulating to a different key, and I transposed that theme 2 from section A, from the exposition, into F major, the tonic key. Alright, I'm not going to play it all for you. I'm going to play the dominant for y'all. I mean the development, sorry. Now as you can see, the development is very, very different from the rest of the piece. The chords are much more open for one thing. They're not just like regular root position block chords. Now, as you'll see here, I said that a development usually starts and ends in the dominant, right? Now also at the very end of the development, you'll usually prepare for a return to the tonic key by setting up the dominant chord of the tonic key, in this case C major. So I add 3 quarter note C major chords one after another in order to return to the recapitulation into the tonic key. Alright, I'll play the whole piece for y'all now. No, you can use whatever time signature you want. The reason it's called Sonata Allegro, though, is because it's usually in Allegro, the tempo, but it doesn't have to be. Also, there's no rules on the instrumentation either. I did mine in piano because that's the easiest way to do it, for an example. And this is obviously a very simple sonatina. But you can do it with whatever instruments you like, and whatever time signature. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I'm not going to cover multiple movements because, that's quite beyond the breadth of this video. But I mean, they're a legitimate thing to have. And a coda as well. I didn't put a coda in here. I was going to put one in for the last 4 bars here, but I just didn't. This video was a lot shorter than I expected it to be. I don't really know what to do now. So, any more questions? Alright, okay, so changing a regular sonata to a sonatina to simplify it is usually mostly in the development, as you can see here. Both my exposition and recapitulations were 16 bars long, but my development was only 8 bars long. And in some sonatinas, there's not even a development at all. There's just like a short modulation to the tonic and then the recapitulation. So you can skip the dominant on a sonatina. You can also forego the introduction and the coda. And also any development of the themes. Like as you can see here, I just have simple periods and sentences, whereas in a full-on sonata, there would probably be a whole lot more development of the motifs instead of just strict periods and strict sentences. Oh, but by the way, that's not to say that a sonatina has to be simpler than a sonata. You could definitely make a sonatina. You could definitely just write a regular sonata, actually. I mean, this challenge is not opposed to that higher level form. Examples of sonata form, probably do that. I'm not sure if it'll show up. I'm not actually watching my video right now. It lags my computer too much. Alright, so let's see if we can identify the exposition
you both have a perfect
and the development
until
and
one of you clips a food
the
truck.
recapitulation.
Then your rates go through the
I think
roof.
this is the whole
Perfect.
sonata.
For drivers with accident
just need the
forgiveness,
first-
Liberty Mutual won't raise your rates due to your first accident. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Okay, never mind. This is the only one with sheet music. Oh, can y'all see this though? I mean, like Pokemarky said, there could be too much lag here. Can y'all see this? Alright, good. So anyway, you start out with that sentence. This is the exact one that I used for the example of a sentence. You start out in allegro because it's sonata allegro. And remember how you talked about the time signatures? He starts in cut time here. stream gone? What happened to the stream? Okay. Okay, here we are in a new section. A lot of Chopin stuff was in ternary form. Sonata form is a form of ternary form, but not all ternary is sonata form. Like all of Chopin's sonatas, all of Chopin's nocturnes were in ternary, I believe, but none of them were sonatas. I'm not sure, I haven't listened to every single one, but I'm pretty sure all of them are just in regular ternary form. Yes, Pokemarky, it would be a good thing to say that the A did have an A and B within it because of the first and second theme, and the recapitulation is variation on the first A because they are in the same key. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know whether that has A or B in first A second. I think we should end it there. It's been a good session, y'all.